So, to begin my research topic on Native Americans' roles in the Civil War, I'm going to start out by probably making a Google Doc to gather my information on. So, I'm typing that in right now, logging into my Google Docs, which will take a second. Gmail.com. And then I'm going to just make my doc pretty simple. Let's see, add one here, give it a nice title, something quick that I'll remember it by, just pretty easy. Let's see, Native Americans role in Civil War. Doesn't have to be perfect since this is just my notes and no one is seeing it. Well, I mean, someone could see it, I guess, but. And then I'm going to Google, and I'll probably just do a broad search right off the bat. Native American roles in the Civil War. So I type that into the Google top bar. The first couple ones I see is to Wikipedia, and that's not really the most credible sources, so I'll probably just click on the second source, ABC Clio, which seems to be pretty accurate. I'm scrolling through, looking at the bottom, seeing what's going on down here. They got a nice little citation, so I'm gonna pop back up and maybe skim through a little bit. The eve of the Civil Wars. So yeah, this is a pretty credible source. I might maybe copy and paste a couple of paragraphs in there just to look at them later, the ones I think are important, into my Google Docs. So let's see, many native groups such as Cherokee followed Stanley. So now that I'm thinking about it, since it's for the Civil War, I'll probably set it up in two different types of notes. One like northern supporters of Native Americans, and then supporters of the Confederacy, or Native American supporters of the Confederacy. So let's see, I'll probably, if anything, I'm going to copy and paste the link onto my Google Docs just so I have it there if I need to grab it again. And then I'll go back through and maybe do more focused one, since I just decided to do the two different topics and do Native American roles in the Civil War for the Confederacy. And since this is a pretty well, I guess, thought out topic at this point, I'm not really using some of the better search databases just because, there's tends to be a bunch of good ones right off the bat on Google. So we've got alexandriava.gov. Usually .govs are pretty darn credible, so I'm going to take a peek at this. Oh yeah, this has got a bunch of, I don't know if pictures are always the best thing, but I am a big fan of pictures, and it's got a lot of them, so that's good. Got a couple maps here, skimming through. Oh yeah, this is a lot of good information. Wow, I could usually probably get all my information off of this site. Honestly, this looks pretty darn big, for at least for the Confederacy, because it seems to have a lot of information on that. Oh, and it's got sources at the bottom, which usually means it's pretty good if it's citing people. So in that case, I'll take a couple peeks here, see exactly what they're talking about. I got an introduction at the top, which usually I like to look at. That's crazy. Then on the side, it also has a bunch of museum links, which I might actually click on one of those, see what they're asking for. Something just popped up. I don't care. Yeah, no, none of those are really important. It's more just, this is the Native Americans section of the website. It's a good one, so I'll probably also throw that down in my Google Docs just the link because I like to have a nice set of links before I really start to get the information down. I look at those as I'm collecting. So now I'm going to keep looking down. We got a PDF here. Sometimes I like taking a peek at PDFs because, oh yeah, it's a research paper from St. Anselm College, which I've never heard of, but it seems to be undergrad major in history. This is just a student written paper, but I mean, it could give me a good, what's the word I'm looking for here? A good example of maybe how I should try and look at mine and see if she has some good information here, because if it's another college student, maybe I'll be able to understand hers a little better than some of the more academic journals or essays about Native Americans and from the Confederacy because the problems and all other tribes exactly what they were doing. So this is a pretty good, just from going through, it seems like she's got her stuff together. She's got a bunch of citations here from a bunch of different sources, which is usually bodes pretty well for information-wise. So at that point, I'll probably throw down this PDF, copy the link, put it in my Google Docs, and that's a fair amount of information on, let's see, now since I kind of have, I don't know, there wasn't really centered on Confederacy or the North just from what I was looking at, and when I typed in my search, it didn't really narrow it down that well. So at this point, I've got a Civil War virtual museum.org. I'll take a peek at that. .org seem to be pretty good sources usually. Oh wow, this is a lot of words here right off the bat. That might be a little, usually that kind of intimidates me sometimes, but I'll give it a quick peek through, see what it says. I'm seeing a lot of the same words and information on all the sources that I'm looking at, so if they're all saying some of the same stuff, that's usually pretty good, which means they're all right in each other. Seems alright. Yeah, I'll probably use this source as well due to the good wording and the .org, and seeing that it's a Civil War virtual museum.com. I don't think they'd mess that one up. So I will throw this one down as well onto the sources. At this point, I've gathered a decent amount of sources, and usually from here, I would probably go and check, just like look at the sources and again and get a more like detailed summary of what's going on in them, since I've got like 4 of them at this point, and searching in the search bar wouldn't help as much. And then maybe I'll after this try and look at the libraries page, maybe see if they have either a book there or just some sort of a first what's the first person source, I forget the real word for it. So I'll go to georgiasouthernlibrary.com, or where, just georgiasouthern.com. Go on it right here. Click on the library tab, which I believe is in research, or maybe it's in academics. They changed up the website on me here, and I'm not not too used to it yet, so this could take a second. There we go, it's under campus life. So now that I've gotten to the Henderson Library page, I'll probably just want to look at books right now and see what I can find. And I'll just look up, it's pretty broad, but Native Americans' roles in the Civil War, and I'll see if they have a decent book or two on that, and maybe go check those out and look at those just for a printed source for the assignment. Oh, it's taking a little bit to load. Alright, let's see. Alright, that's not too many pages. It's one of 13, so they obviously have some good choices here. Let's see. It's a lot of just basic American history books at this point. Not a lot of ones just on Native Americans' roles in the Civil War, so that will not be as helpful to me. I'll get the search a little smaller here and just look at history. If anything, I just know one of these books will have something on Native Americans because they're American history. So, a history of multicultural America. I'll check out this source for a second. I don't know if it's exactly what I'm looking for. I think more just typing in the top bar would probably help out more. Let's see. Hopefully they have the table of contents lifted. That could help a lot. But they might not, so... Oh, they do. Alright, this is good. Now I'll probably look... Yeah. Oh, they definitely have some stuff on... Yes, the Indian... or the Native Americans. So... Foreigners in their native land. That's a war against Mexico. Don't need to look at that. Shakespeare's Dream. Yeah, I don't think this is exactly what I'm looking for, but maybe if I looked at the book itself, I could probably get some a better idea of what's going on in it. So now I'm gonna go back to the home page at the Henderson Library and just look up a book on the Civil War itself, and just see if they have some basic overviews of the Civil War, because it's got some stuff on Native American roles in there. Let's see. There's 6,950 different topics. That could be a problem. So let's see. I'll look at the additional suggested topics. Maybe they've got things on Native Americans. I'll go to race relations because that obviously was a big part of the Civil War, and we'll see if it has anything on Native Americans. Culture, war, justice. Yeah, no, this is probably not the best way to search right now, because it's more about black and white rather than Indians of North America. There we go. All right. Well, then I'm getting it a little more defined here. All right, talking back civilization, Indian voices in the Progressive Era. We've got pre-Civil War Kansas. Scholars expose anti-Indianism in America. So this could be good right here. Let me see. I'm going to go check on the table of contents again, because that's usually a good place to look. Let's see. Description. No. Okay, they do not have a table of contents. Well, maybe they do. Oh, here it is. Table of contents. Oh, wow. So the type is a little scary looking just because it's pretty bland and just there, which usually for me is either a runaway if I'm not really paying that much attention, or it's very helpful. Let's see. This doesn't really have much of their roles in the Civil War, more just what happened to them and why it was bad before the Civil War. So I'm going to bring this back to the page I was just on, look through more of the library sources.
So I'm good. I'm writing a paper on the effects of the Stamp Act and the Revolutionary War for a class in American history. Alright, so first I'm going to pull up Google Chrome, do some research. Okay. Now I always start out doing a Google search for whatever I need. And I basically see what there is to offer. Alright, so I'm going to click on this link because it is, it seems like a reliable source. It's an edu source. It's not a .com. It means it's an educational site, and it's typically a relatively accurate source. Let me go down and find what I need to find. Alright, so this gives you a little bit of information. It's nothing too special. I think it's more just telling you what exactly it is. So yeah, it's pretty basic, so I don't think it's much of what I need. Alright. So I can come here. So it's coming to the American Revolution Stamp Act, MassachusettsHistory.org. Hopefully this will give me some information about Boston. Alright, so this looks pretty good. This looks a little better, a little more information. Look at that. Okay, so this is something I can use. This looks like something that I would get a little bit of information for, and I could probably cite this pretty well. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy that. Come down here and find a Word document. There it is. Open that up, and I'm going to paste that link right there. Alright. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go back. Alright, so the next thing that I will do is I'm just going to modify my search a little bit. Thing is with Google, sometimes you just have to modify certain phrases in there and it works much better. Alright, so come here. See, as you can see, we have a whole number of different internet sites that I can use. There we go. We can look at that. Libcom.org. Alright. There we go. This is fantastic. This looks like a very good source, actually. This might be one of the better ones that I can find. So this just gives you like a step-by-step of what's going on. And, oh wow. Even cites the... wow, it cites primary sources too. So this is definitely something I can use, and it goes down a great deal. So there's a whole load of information. So this is definitely something I want to save. So I'm gonna copy that, and I'm gonna paste that right in there, back on my Word document. All right, so I found a couple basic information, basic websites for that have the information I need. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a library source, and I'm going to research some scholarly sources that are things that I would typically cite for my paper. All right, so here, as you can see, like this is what I can use for scholarly journals right there. I can click that box. So if I search, I'm going to search basically the exact same thing that I searched before. And that was how the Stamp Act instigated the Revolutionary War, right there. So I can just copy and paste that right there. Right there. Now this is searching EBSCOhost, and EBSCOhost is probably the best research tool that I've used throughout high school and college. All right, so here you can have someone read it to you. You can, I mean, look at this is absolutely perfect. So this is probably what I'd use for the duration of my paper for the most part. I mean, I'm gonna go back because it only gave me one real link, but it is a scholarly source because I mean, and it is a full text. I didn't even click full text, but it's a full text, and this is the scholarly journal, and this is exactly what I need. Um, this basically tells me the exact same things as these other websites here, which gave me a rudimentary understanding of what it was I was trying to research. And this EBSCOhost, it gives me the best possible source to use. So I'm going to come back here. I mean, it's kind of a specific thing. So I'm going to make it a little more general. And I'm just going to say, oh shoot, this way. Stamp X. Scholarly sources only. All right. So as you can see, like I went the more general route, and it's given me a substantially larger um, pool to work with. All right, so here's something. That's something interesting. Oh, actually, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm hit full text only. All right. So right here, this is exactly what I need. This is the Stamp Act Congress. This will give me more information on um, what came from the Stamp Act. Um, so this is something that I can still use. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it. Alright, but yeah, this is basically all I'm going to do. I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to go up and down these different sites, and if something appeals to me, I'm basically going to click on it. And, I mean, I can cite the sources, but say I like one a lot, and I'm going to say this one right here. Copy and paste that back into the browser. say I like this. I'm going to say the end of the 7 Years' War was known as the American-French and Indian War, resulted in the final expulsion of France from the continent of India. All right. Okay. So if I want to cite that, this is what I do. I just copy paste that right down there. And I'm going to stick those quotations on there. Now, go like that, basically. I click that right there because I'm basically citing the source. I'm sticking that little number up there. Right there. I gotta turn that off. Now, this is something I'm assuming is going to be in the paper, and I'm not basically I'm just going to stick it in there just for an example. All right, so as you can see, that's what it is. And what I'm going to do now to cite that source is I will go to EasyBib there. Now, this right here is a scholarly journal. So I cite a journal. Wrong thing. Copy, and I'm going to paste that. Hmm, that's strange. Oh, I think I might have done it wrong. I might have tried to cite it as a website. That's what it is. It's a journal. Now these are all the different uh, source journals that entail what I just posted in there. Mine is from Funk and Wagnall's New World. Let's try that right there. Nope. Hmm. Do not seem to. try database. Huh. Alright, so I might just do it myself. It's not gonna want to do it for me. Alright, so it is. Is that it?
I'm writing a paper on global warming for a class in biology. The first thing I would do to gather information about global warming is to go to a search engine like Google and type in scholarly analysis on global warming. And then there are some websites, and I would look through them and pick out a reliable source. And I'm going to choose the livescience.com source for key arguments for global warming. And then I would read through the article and decide whether or not it's a scholarly source or if it's just someone who made up stuff. I would use this source because it has quotes from other scientists, like a research team by Roy Spencer from the University of Alabama, 1992, that was a critic of global warming, and he has a quote here by him. And it says that the research team then published a paper and did an analysis. So I would likely use some of this information. But the first half of the article seems to be more narrative and not actually factually based, so I probably wouldn't use much of this one. And then I'd go back to my search engine and search something like global warming effects on society. And there's an article from the EPA.gov, which is a reliable source because it's a government website. And I would read through it and find some points where I would be able to make an argument based off of what they say, cite some of the factual content they present, and then give my own analysis on what I think about their facts. And then they have references at the bottom of the page, so I can click on their references and look at what these articles say about global warming. And there's some analysis on how city residents and urban infrastructure have distinct sensitivities to climate change impacts. So I could reword that and make it my own thought, and then use their examples and cite sources and give my analysis on what I think about the examples of heat waves being amplified in cities cause cities to absorb more heat during the day than rural areas. So cities are more densely populated. And after I've found all of the information I need to use from this article, I can go back and look for some more articles that would help me. And I keep up with all the websites that I use by copying the URL at the top and saving it in a Word document or a separate Word document from my paper, so I can make sure I keep going back and looking. And then I'd likely search the global warming effects on animals for my biology class, or specifically reptiles, or a common one, polar bears. So I search the global warming effects on reptiles, and I come up with another government article about reptiles and climate change, which would likely be a reliable article to use. It's from the United States Department of Agriculture, so it's a reliable source. It could have some bias in it if the government doesn't actually believe in global warming or not, but you can exploit their bias if you want to, or required to. It says a lot of the global warming stuff is more opinionated than factual. So it says in temperate zones, lizards are thought to be highly vulnerable to climate change. It doesn't say they are, it just says thought to be. So you could use that to your advantage or not. And the first sentence of the article says, many reptiles are highly sensitive to the altered temperatures that may result from climate change due to their ectothermy, which requires that they rely on ambient environmental temperatures to maintain critical physiological processes. So you could use that quote and use bits and pieces of it and figure out what the physiological processes that they're referring to are, and then use that in your essay. And then if I thought I had enough information, I would likely look for some documents about against global warming and why, or in the science that they have for why global warming is not real. So I'd probably search some something like global warming, global warming hoax or something like that. There's just a lot of blogs on some hoaxes about global warming and people who don't believe it. So it seems like most scholarly sources are primary sources that you would use believe global warming is real and not a hoax. Most everyone who thinks it's a hoax is just someone writing a blog on here. So you could use that and say that there's not a lot of facts about global warming not existing. And say the only people who believe global warming does not exist are those that are not scholarly sources, because you cannot find a scholarly source with actual research that suggests that global warming is not an issue. There's one article it's a column from an author named John Hawkins on a website named townhall.com, which explains 5 reasons why global warming is not real. And it explains that there hasn't been any global warming since 1997, saying that the temperature of the planet has essentially been flat for 17 years. And I don't know where he got that from. It seems almost made up, but he says that the director of Climate Research Unit of the University of East Anglia admits that it's true. And since I don't know what the University of East Anglia is, he could be reaching for a fact in order to back up his argument. And almost all of his sources are articles along the same lines of his own that say many of the same things his does. So this is not a very good source to use unless you're arguing that global warming does in fact exist, and that people who don't think it exists don't have any facts to back up their side of the argument, which seems to be true. So I would likely use the first 3 sources I found in the government documents to support my argument that says that global warming is true and it's affecting reptiles and animals and climate change, and that those who think global warming is not true don't have actual factual information to prove why. So then I would likely move into writing the essay.